right, guys, welcome to a new episode of the Type 1 Lifting podcast. I have a great guest. I think he has a great story, but he doesn't believe it. His name's Gabe Maldonado, and he is the owner of Paper Street Coffee. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so while I was doing some research, when you did the podcast with Clydesdale Fitness and Friends, well, Clydesdale Media now, I was listening to your voice, and I'm like, man, you like I don't know if you ever heard this before, but you have a voice for podcasting. I think you do. I think you do. I mean, it's like very easy to listen to. Like it's not like harsh or anything like that. I mean, you got the voice for it,
Dude, I hate my voice. I think like
dude.
everyone.
I hate my voice too, and I still do this.
I appreciate the compliment. Wow, that's um hopefully my friends and my close relatives they hear you and they stop making fun of my voice, how I talk sometimes.
So I know you've been on Clydesdale's podcast, and have you done any others other than this one?
Dude, I do my best. I not that I pick and choose because I don't really pick and choose. Like if you really want me on and I feel like, hey, we can have the conversation and like Vic, really awesome guy, kind of introduced us. Um, I'll do it, but I don't want to be like that forward facing uh character. I don't want to be I don't want to be paper street. I don't
Yep.
want to be synonymous with the brand. Um, I want Paper Street to kind of stand on its own. Like it's good for me just to kind of have interactions and yes, I can be a lot of places, but if it's in the darks and the shadows, I'd rather do that. Um, because I guess I'm the type of person where it's like I don't not that I don't like recognition, it's I don't seek it. I don't need validation. I don't need people to be like, "Oh man, like
Yep.
your story's awesome," or "Oh man," et cetera, et cetera. I love hearing it, like any human. Uh, but at the same time, like I don't seek it. I don't go out of my way to be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Type One podcast. I'm gonna be on Clydesdale. I'm gonna be this." I don't like. I don't. Yeah, I don't. Even being on Clydesdale, I had to. I think it took a month and a half from when Kat asked me to be on
Yep.
for me to be on, and like the next day I called Sevon from the Sevon podcast. He's a very close, I hope, friend. I don't know what I am to him, but to me, I think he's my friend. I reached out to him and I called him and just kind of shared my ideas of why I don't want to be on a podcast.
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, just be on it because you're not you're not coming at it from like the, oh, like look at me type of thing. You're coming at it from like a very different space. And he's like, yeah, go ahead, be on it. There's no problem. So
Yeah. So I mean, do you think like with you and Paper Street, you said you don't want to be like the face of the brand. So with me with Type 1 Lifting, I kind of have to be. So like, how do you like what would you say for me like to kind of split the? Would you think it'd be beneficial for me to kind of split the brand off at all, or what were your thoughts?
um I mean, it's very different, right? I'm not
Yeah,
media based. You're
true.
you're media based, and uh you, we can say it like you're a personality. I'm not a personality, or if I am a personality, again, uh, Paper Street and Gabe can split, and Paper
Yes.
Street can be run by someone else. Like if I were to delegate my jobs properly, Paper Street Coffee could run without me being uh, there. While if you're a podcast, right, like if you're a show, let's say, right, you have the Kelly Clarkson morning show, or you have like the Tucker Carlson news show, like their media personalities, uh, and it's very different.
Mm.
So I think depends on the product, right? Quote unquote the product. Podcast you can't buy it, but you listen to it.
Yep.
Depends on the product, and kind of just depends on the individual. Like there's probably people that you've reached out to and like, yeah, let's do the one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's other people that might not either feel comfortable, and it's not that I don't feel comfortable. I feel comfortable talking to anyone who is willing to talk to me. But at the same time, it's one of those things where if you want to be the forward facing entity of your business or whatever it is, you might as well like do it. And if you don't, then just be smart about it. And I
Mhm.
think that as far as Paper Street goes, I am forward facing right now because I'm the only one who's willing to like go to Wadapalooza and like
Yep.
open up at 7 o'clock in the morning, stay there till like 9 o'clock at night, not take a lunch break, and just like be up on my feet for 13, 14 hours. And then like I'm the only person that's able to do that. And yes, everyone sees, okay, Gabe's at this event, he's doing this, he's doing that. They're seeing the hard work, and they're seeing kind of like the representation of what Paper Street is. Paper Street is built on hard work, and if you're part of the Paper Street community, it's like you are also one of those individuals that appreciates hard work.
Mhm. Gotcha. Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. So, before we get into Paper Street, which is I want to hear the story later on, but you're very into CrossFit, and so I heard the story of how you first got into like working out. Can you kind of talk about that story? Like when I believe you're in high school, or actually after high school when you started
Yeah.
getting into fitness.
Yeah, it was 2013. I graduated university. I went to Rutgers University here in New Jersey. And it was like, damn you, Siri. Um, It was right after like a breakup, right? So you know how that works, right?
Always happens. Always happens.
Uh one of my best friends, not one of my best friends, my best friend, he he called me. He's like, "Dude, we're going to the gym just to play basketball. I love basketball. Dude, we're going to the gym to play basketball." All right, cool. We got there, and like a regular global gym that had a basketball court, and
Mhm.
then he's like, "Dude, let's just start lifting before we go to play basketball." We're waiting for our friends to come, and then we just started working out, like just benching, curls. And at that time, his brother-in-law had a personal training gym, and they were doing 531, right?
Mhm.
So everyone knows 531. uh so instead of like focusing on like the regular gym bro bodybuilding type of workouts, we kind of started gearing more towards the benching, military press, squatting, and deadlift, right? So like the pure components of like
Strength.
building a
Yeah.
base,
Yeah.
exactly. So I did that for like a year. So that, I think that was 2020, 2012. And then I remember in 2013, early 2013, there were well, I was like cleaning my room and we were about to go to the gym. My friend calls me and we're talking like about what we're gonna do at the gym, and then he's like, "Dude, check this out on ESPN." And then I turned to ESPN and it was Annie doing a workout at the games, 2012 games,
Mhm.
like a rope climb and like a sled. They had like the football sled, the one where
Yep.
you like tackle the dummy. She was doing that, and then I saw her, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" And then I saw Matt Chan, and he was just like tattooed out, like brolic, super strong, and I'm like, "Dude, what is this?" And he's like, "That's what my brother-in-law does at his gym." So I was like, "Okay, let's try it." So we went, we did our first workout was a variation of Fight Gone Bad. And I was like, after the third round, I'm like, there's more. Like
Mhm. Yep.
I have to do all of this and there's more, and I'm like dying. And then I was hooked. I was enamored by that. And then you realize it wasn't just like, because Fight Gone Bad's a bunch of shit you put together, right? You do
Mhm.
5 movements, and then at the end of the minute, or at the end of the workout, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then the next day, we did weightlifting, and it was one of those things where I'm like, well, I'm already good at squatting. I'm already good at deadlifting. I'm already good at like a military press and a bench. So like push pressing was easy because again, it was part of the 531 program. And so it was very cool that like the base that me and my boy kind of built kind of translated easy to CrossFit. And then from there, from 2013, it was just instead of kind of diving deep into the sports and like wanting to compete.
Yep. Which everyone kind of veers off to.
Exactly. What happened was when I Googled CrossFit, the CrossFit Journal came up. I
Mhm.
don't remember what article it was, but when I saw the journal, I just wanted to know everything about CrossFit. So I went back to the very first article on the journal. So kind of like what Get With the Programming did.
Yep.
Chase and Bill, they're like, hey, we're gonna start from day one. I did the same exact thing. I started from day one, journal one. I paid my $15 a month right then and there, like month one into CrossFit, and that's what I did. Uh, I just read every single article and was like enamored into that. And then like yes, I knew about the sport and like the sport was very attention grabby, but the foundation again, just like the 531 was built on like those core fundamental strength movements. My CrossFit kind of career was built on the 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 programming.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a long day. It's East Coast over here. 8 o'clock. I just finished working out.
Well, same here.
Uh,
So same here.
so it was built on that. It was built on like the Greg teachings and the videos of just how to move and like the beauty in movement and defining fitness and all these beautiful things that kind of slowly started to build the foundation for the person that I then became,
Hmm.
or the person that I am now. Um, so kind of like stringing that all together, I always give thanks to what CrossFit did for me, because I clearly remember the Gabe that I was prior to um, learning how to be a confident human being because of because of CrossFit. I remember like this is pre CrossFit Gabe, who was maybe a little bit too shy, maybe not as confident in his abilities, and then the post introduction to CrossFit Gabe, the one who fails, how many times that did I fail a 135 snatch before I got 135? And
Hmm.
then how many times did I fail, right, a 145 snatch before I got 145? So like those constant failures and those constant wanting to improve, where you're like, hey, I failed, like, oh man, I'm gonna go back for 225 snatch, and I failed this probably 100 times. Like, you know, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna say, I failed it yesterday? It doesn't like I failed it last week. Why am I even gonna try this week? Or are we, and by we I mean the CrossFit community, are we enamored in the, all right, we failed it last week, let's go ahead and try it again, right?
Yep. Yep.
And that kind of then started to translate into my everyday life, into business, into kind of just wanting to better myself in every aspect. Uh, and then being comfortable with my failures, because dude, I failed so
Oh,
much.
I think everyone's failed so much. Like, especially with me, like the 225 when I was like snatching would always be like the numbers, like seeing two big plates like on each side freaked me out. I'm like sitting there like, but if I put like a couple tens on there and like a five, it's not that bad. But it's just like it's so intimidating. Even like 315, like putting like clean and jerk, it's like you see those three big things, and then like it's like so intimidating. But you just keep on going and like practice and practice, and it's like it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like pretty much in life, like you fail, all well, just do the next thing. But my computers had issues today. I have to use the FaceTime screen. Well, all well, but at least I get to have a podcast with you. It's just like,
Have the
whatever, just
conversation, yeah.
yeah, roll with the punches.
And I'm taking notes too, so don't think
Oh,
I'm ignoring. I
all
take
good, all
notes.
good. So while you were reading the journal, obviously, like when I first started CrossFit, like I think it was roughly a little bit after like the 300 movie came out when they did the 300 workout. So there was tons and tons of articles of like how CrossFit was bad, how it was like not good for you at all. So did you also read those articles as well?
So yeah, so like when it came to like the naysayers, right?
Hmm.
Um, I was always very uh I mean, you could say it. I was very ignorant to like a lot of those things. And even in my personal life, again, I started CrossFit when I was 22, 23, and this is 10 years ago, because now I'm 33. Coming up in March, so like almost 10 years exactly, in
Nice.
March. And I was very ignorant to that, right? And I just didn't care. I'm like, no, they're wrong. I love CrossFit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now that I'm 33, I'm like, well, let me read that article. Let me actually like ingest
Yeah.
it and like
Yeah.
actually like let it process and then put it to the filter of like BS that I know and
Hmm.
kind of be like, oh, okay, I see what they were either trying to do. They wanted to get a point across or they were just being assholes. But yeah, I used to I read all the bad articles, and then you know, in the journal, because it was such an open and such a beautiful thing, because you had a lot of people that were like contributing to it. You had the people who would then post the rebuttal to that, right, to
Hmm. Yep.
whatever article came out. You had individuals who were able to like, oh, okay, this I don't really I remember vaguely there was something where I forgot who wrote a rebuttal to a to an article that came out criticizing CrossFit, and I was like, oh, okay, well, there's a segment of the community that's out there that's taking care of that,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, you know, it was that first initial cultish mentality where like they can do nothing wrong,
Yeah.
and that was you
Yep.
know, a 23-year-old me, 24-year-old me was like, no, they can't do anything wrong, they're perfect, and then now it's like, okay, maybe, you know, everyone should be not necessarily heard, but like, okay, I'll entertain it if I want to. If it's gonna better me or if it's gonna give me a different perspective. And then after I get that betterment, I'll filter it through my life filter and get what I need to get out of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, like dude, I was around when all that stuff was going on, like 2012, 2013, 2014, when like things were like CrossFit was just I was riding the wave too, right? I was one of the
Yep.
people that they like hooked through ESPN. They're like, get over here.
Hmm.
Um, and then, you know, started coaching, et cetera, and then uh opened up gyms and then just kind of was living the life of like a coach and helping people out, bettering other individuals. Um, not to the extent like you do, right? Or
Well,
like you
I,
were.
I I don't coach anymore, so that's been a long. So I trained. I used to coach at a Globo gym, and I would literally do CrossFit at the Globo gyms. And so it's because like my thing was like I was doing CrossFit. I'm all in. You know, bro splits are nice once in a while, but like the functional like variation of the workouts and like constantly moving and stuff like that. Like I've had people like lose like 60 pounds just doing CrossFit alone, just coming in personal training with me. And so and then after a while, like now I'm a medical recruiter because the coaching lifestyle is what wasn't cutting it out pretty much money wise. And so I needed something more stable. And then like working in the hospital was great, but it wasn't like stable enough. So that's why I became a full-time medical recruiter for like the past like 3 years, just because, you know, things are getting more and more expensive, especially with two little kids
Pays the
too.
bills, yeah. Pays
Yeah.
the bills.
So, but then I used to do online coaching a little bit too, but now like since doing this podcast is like, no, I don't have time to like, I literally finish work. And then like while like in the middle of working, even though they don't listen to the podcast, but you know, while I'm working, I'm like editing stuff and like, you know, editing videos, sound, you know, getting everything ready for the podcast and stuff. And then after I'm done with work, it's hanging out with the kids and then scheduling one podcast like a week, you know, just like on a, you know, either Monday through Thursday, just to get, you know, somebody on and then kind of go there in like a constant cycle.
Yeah, I mean, but even everything that you're doing, like with the foundation and everything, to kind of, you know, give back. That's what I mean. Like um, you know, obviously, we all have that character, right? We all have like that no quit attitude, or like
Mm,
that community aspect attitude. Um, and again, it's one of those things that was grown through the understanding of what CrossFit is, not necessarily as a sport. Um, and that's kind of what has been the most foundational thing to me. Like the community is paramount to me above the sport, and it's
hmm.
really weird because you know I sponsor people who are very I sponsor individuals who are very good in the sport, and I give back to the community by being able to give to those people. Um, you know, whether it's an amazing individual like Ariel, who is an example for a lot of mothers,
Yeah, super.
right?
She's super nice. Like every time I listen to her on a podcast or even on her feed or anything like that, she's like she's awesome. So that's one
Yeah.
lady I'd like to talk to too.
Yeah, she's beautiful. I met her family at in Wadapalooza, her husband, her daughter. It was really cool that I think I interacted a little bit more with her husband than I did with her, just because
Yeah.
he was like there getting coffee, and she came to the booth, and we did an engagement there where her fans can meet her.
Hmm.
And I'm not the type of person. I got zero pictures at Wadapalooza. Zero pictures with any of the people that I support, or any, like, I got people, I got pictures with like people who listen to Sevon's podcast and like know about Paper Street. Um, I got pictures with them, but I got no pictures with like any of the athletes that came by. And as much as like I would have loved to, I also liked, hey, it's like, hey, I'm not like, hey, let me get a picture. It's like, no, like, let me talk to you like while I'm making coffee there. I had like a little
Yep.
wall where I let some athletes. I'm like, dude, come back here. Like, you'll be a little bit blocked off. You'll have a little bit of privacy. We can kind of talk, like, make coffee back here. um but like individuals like that, supporting individuals like Ariel, who is like an example to mothers, supporting individuals like Alexis Raptis. She's an up and coming athlete who I want to be able to kind of help, not grow, because I'm not gonna do much, but support in in
Yeah. Yeah.
in in those aspects. Things like that. I have an amazing individual, Kyra Mulligan, who's out of Vegas. She is an athlete that to me isn't an athlete. Like, I try not to say the word athlete as much as possible. Like
Hmm.
people. I support people. I support individuals. I support the person. Um, like her, she's been amazing to me, as far as supporting my business and helping me grow and being an integral part of helping individuals like you, or like Vic, kind of see my reach.
Hmm.
Um, and then once they're like, "Oh, what is this?" Then they're like, "Oh, wait, this guy's a hustler. Like, he busts his ass." Um, no one at Wadapalooza or at the games or any event that I go to, no one can say, "Oh, this guy uh, isn't a hard worker." Not because I go around like with a microphone, "Hey, I'm a hard worker. I'm a hard worker." It's like because I'm there doing my stuff, and at the end of the day, like, hey, I remember like at Wadapalooza, and it's just fresh in my head, so I'm sorry if I'm being kind of redundant and
No, you're good.
repeating
You're
it
good,
over
man.
and over. Like, I rented an Airbnb. Um, First I was gonna split it with Vindicate, Travis from Vindicate.
Hmm.
I think you were talking to him as well about getting him on, and if you haven't, you should get him on.
We're in the
Uh,
process of scheduling it right now. So yeah.
Perfect, perfect. We had an Airbnb with him. It was just supposed to be him and I. And then I met Rolo Roderick from Memes for Time.
Yep.
Amazing, beautiful individual.
Awesome, dude. I've
Uh,
had him on the podcast too. Such a great
yeah,
great dude. Great dude.
he's amazing. He reached out to me to come to the Zalos games and just hang out. He came out to Vegas at the Zalos games back in November, October, whatever it was.
Yep.
And then he's like, "Dude, you got a place for me at Wadapalooza?" I don't know if he was just like joking around, and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Come down." He's like, "Seriously?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. I got a big ass Airbnb for a reason,
Hmm.
just in case anyone wanted to be like, hey, I need a place to stay." I'm like, "Dude, I couch. We'll go to like Dick's and get like air mattresses or whatever it is. We'll figure it out." So he came out, and then like very last minute, Brian from the Barbell Spin,
Yep.
uh, he reached out to Travis. He's like, "Dude, do you have a place where I can crash?" Travis was like, "Hey, man, is it okay if he stays with us?" "Oh, of course." What am I gonna do? Say no? Um, and it was awesome because we had this amazing community
Hmm.
of two vendors that are in the space. Brian, who is like a reporter, right? He has his own media company in the Barbell Spin, and then you had Roderick and Dominic, who were the people behind this like funny, hilarious like meme page.
Yep.
And it was beautiful because we all were grinding and hustling. No one was there to go out and party. No one was there to go. We were there to wake up, because of me, wake up at like 5:30 to try to get to the venue at 6:30, super bright and early, and we would grind. Like, there would be a line of people following us to the booth for coffee. We would get there, we would set up, we would start selling coffee at 7 o'clock in the morning. We wouldn't stop selling until 8:30,
Wow.
until everything shut down. And then we waited. We had to wait because Brian had to go get interviews.
Hmm.
Brian waited to go get interviews. So we were one of the last people out. After all the vendors left, we were all there getting interviews. And then when we got back to our Airbnb, it was really cool. They had a really big dining room table. So we all sat down, and then it was while Travis and I could kind of relax for a second, Brian had to edit. Roderick had to edit. So there was no time for like oh dude, we're in Miami, there's this going on, there's that
Yep.
going on, there's
Yep.
this going on, like let's go out. There was no time for that. What there was time is while they were editing there, what were we doing? We were talking about the state of where CrossFit is. We were shooting the shit, right? But we were just being these five dudes who are so in love, right,
Hmm.
with CrossFit, the space, right? And we were just, how do we better this? And we said it there. At least I don't know if I said it or if I thought it. There's been a few people that say, oh, is CrossFit dying? Is CrossFit dead? Is CrossFit
Yeah.
this?
Yep.
And I kind of took a step back, and I'm like, it can't be, because we're here because of CrossFit and we're pushing it. We're pushing the envelope. It's not dead unless right now, because maybe it's a changing of the guard, it's something else. It's not dead unless we want it to be dead. It's not dead unless we stop hustling. It's not dead unless someone says no. Like someone, it would have to come from someone that's kind of in our bubble,
Hmm.
that's not hustling, that's not doing, for instance, like Sevon, that's not doing podcasts every day at 7 o'clock. Individuals like yourself who's trying to um, not just do podcasts like this, but also kind of support another community that can easily be meshed in with the CrossFit community, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Um, that not that needs the CrossFit community, right? That's very, like, they can coexist and just kind of be very beneficial for each other.
Hmm.
So I think I think kind of that story was really cool. Like that kind of being there at Wadapalooza and everyone kind of just being around freaking individuals who are just like hitting it and like going after it and just like working from sun up to like sundown. It was, dude, I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but like,
So, are you guys planning to do the same thing next year?
I was just with Roderick this. No, Siri, enough with you. Enough with this watch. Well, I was just with Roderick this weekend in Vegas. I did a little bit of an the underdogs,
Hmm.
uh, Kiefer, who is one of the coaches out there. He invited me to come out and kind of support and sponsor like an individual athlete that was there. Give him a few bucks for coming out, and then he's like, "Dude, if you want to come down, come down."
Hmm.
I came out with Roderick, and it's kind of one of those things where when Justin was like introducing me, he was just like, and then we have Paper Street Coffee, Gabe, who's just like, if you guys know anything about Paper Street, they've been just making a huge splash in the space, and I think that's what it was. Like, I think that's what that is. And yeah, man, I flew in. I flew into Vegas for like 24 hours, and I flew back here to Jersey. I had to catch. I went with one of my boys to the Eagles games yesterday.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice.
and I spent the time with Roderick, and it was one of those things where I landed at like 11, got to the hotel that we were splitting at like 12, and then I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go to sleep. And as soon as like like laid down in bed, not together, he had his own bed. As soon as we laid down in bed, we just started talking, and like before we knew it, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, dude, we gotta go to sleep.
Oh,
Because
shoot.
again, it was one of those things where it's like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about crap? No, we're talking about how to better. Like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on? Um, and even after that Miami trip, we made a group, a text group, and we text every day. Like, Roderick literally one day was texting like, "Hey boys, how are we getting better today?" Like, that is awesome. Like, that's one of those people where you're like, like, this dude is in it for the right thing. Like, this
Yep.
guy's a
Exactly.
is a ride or die type of guy.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. So, while like you went on like the topic, kind of CrossFit is dead. So obviously, like Wadapalooza is like one of the biggest festivals that they have in the CrossFit space now. Did you see it on your side like like even bigger than like last year for like the amount of people that showed up?
I think when I wasn't there last year.
Oh, okay.
I just it's funny how March is like a huge pivotal time. March is this coming March is going to be the 1 year that I've really been into, like, hey, let's get Paper Street Coffee off the ground and let's use CrossFit as a method to do it.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't go last year, but this year, I mean, from everything that I see and that I hear, I mean, I was there, boots on the ground, and the place was packed.
Yeah, it looked
And
like it
so,
just on the TV.
yeah, and people say that in a negative way, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I get it. Things could be made better, and they should for the viewer experience, or like the in-person experience, it should be made better. Um, but hey, everyone makes mistakes and everyone grows, and if what happened this year is them kind of just like kind of learning and growing, dude, I can't wait for next year. I can't
Mhm.
wait to be around the same people that came to the booth, and like next year I'm not going to have the same booth. It's going to be different, it's going to be better, and they're going to come and be surprised. And the same thing, I'm assuming Wadapalooza or Live and Loud is going to be doing the same exact thing. How can we better ourselves for next year? If I'm thinking about doing that with a small little 10 by 10 booth, just me, and like I had my fiance working there for me, I had my sister working there for me. Um, I can just imagine what they're doing. So
Mhm.
like, when people like might be chirping about like, hey, um, I think it sucks, or not being constructive, right? Not being like, here's an issue, like what Andrew did. Here's an issue, freaking fix it. I'm giving you this criticism not because I'm a dick. I'm giving you this criticism because it needs to be given for it to be better. I don't. Yeah, man. CrossFit being dead. It's like, is it dead, or are you just out of the space and it's dead to you? If it's dead to you, hey, it's dead to you. It's your reality. I can't argue reality,
Mhm.
but I'll tell you, it's not dead to me. And if you want to have an argument or a conversation, right? Nothing heated. If you want to have a conversation about why it's not dead, let's have it. Because I can 100% have it. I can be super. I give you a super objective point of view on why CrossFit is not dead
You'll have
in
like
my eyes.
you'll have like a Kaylee McEnany like big binder, so you just like start flipping through it like, okay, well here's fact number one, and then fact number two, just keep on going.
Dude, I'd be remiss if I don't kind of also mention um like how important Sevon's contribution to
Oh,
the community
huge.
has been.
Yeah, yeah.
And even just to me, without him, uh dude, I wouldn't be where I am. I
Hmm.
would not be I would not be in front of you. I would not be supporting these amazing people that I support. I would not be in front of these amazing people who support the product. Um, Without him, it's like it's one of those things where I haven't met him yet, but you know how they say like be careful about meeting your heroes because
Hmm.
sometimes they'll like turn out and like disappoint you. I'm like, he's who I found. When I went to the journal, like, what's one of the first things that pops up? Behind the
Him.
scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I'm like, who? Like, I'm like, dude, this is cool. This is like the hard knocks behind the scenes on the NFL. Like, I loved it. And then like you see, you learn more about the individual, and then he's done so much for me as far as like growing as a person. Dude, I love calling him. I wish I could call him every day because it's like a night. It's if he's not busy with his kids, because literally if something's going on with his kids, he's like, hey man, it's my kids, I gotta go. Hangs up. And I respect him so much for that.
Hmm.
But if it's not, if he is free, you have a 90-minute conversation with an individual who is so fucking cool. Every time I speak to him, I'm like on cloud nine. I'm like, yo, where's a brick wall? I'm about to run right through that brick wall.
Yeah.
Um, because that's the type of person that he is. And like, I think one thing that I do want to kind of exemplify is the fact that like, hey, I'm a good judge of character, and I surround myself with people who are the same as me, who are just genuinely good people.
Hmm.
And if even if I'm giving you the time of day, um like it was meant to be. I didn't know right about the type one lifting. I didn't know about the podcast. It was just like one of those things where I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then boom, like everything kind of like all the dominoes fell into place. It's like,
Yep.
oh, that's cool. Um, so again, like I would be like in a weird position, not giving thanks to the individual who basically made all of this possible. Because at the end of the day, like if I take all the credit, like I can take credit for my coffee tasting kick ass. I can take credit for that. I can take credit for the hard work. I can't take credit for him being the reason why I am where I am. Him, Matt, Caleb, like everyone behind there. Like he's an individual who, even there at Wadapalooza, everyone came up like, "Hey, you're Gabe," and like we heard about you from the podcast.
Very cool. That's
Even
awesome.
even people that you would assume don't listen to the podcast, like, "Oh, you're Paper Street from the podcast." I was like, "Interesting." I was like, "Yeah," and it felt good, right? It felt good, and
Yeah.
it felt really really cool. And like that, I'm if people are ride or die for Paper Street, I'm definitely a ride or die for whatever Sevon does, and that's kind of like the reason why I'm in the space to begin with.
Very cool. Very cool. Now you kind I believe I think I got this right. So you named Paper Street out off of like kind of like the Fight Club kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
right, like we started during the pandemic. I won't get too much into it because we did it on Clydesdale. Hop over to them,
Yeah.
right? Like do their
Yeah.
thing. Don't want to be redundant. But yeah, like we started during the pandemic, and like what happened during the pandemic, right? Like everyone was kind of forced to do something that we all, at one point thought um it was the right thing, but things started coming out, and it's like, man, I really wish that we were able to make our own decisions, right, for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now knowing that it's not something that can harm someone like directly because of my stupid actions, right? Now knowing that, I really wish like we could do something. So like the idea came up April, no, yeah, like April, like early April, like 2 weeks after everything started shutting down. Um, the idea came up. I'm a huge Chuck Palahniuk fan. Obviously Fight Club is like, you're not like a gym bro or a lifting bro or whatever you are without like having or seeing a picture of like Brad Pitt when he's standing shirtless smoking a cigar. um and then one of the biggest things, every time I think about Paper Street Coffee or Paper Street, I always think about that ending scene in Fight Club where like all the buildings are collapsing,
Yep.
and like as much as Edward Norton's character, the narrator, wanted to stop it, it's like, nah, dude, this is inevitable. Like this is inevitable. The rubber band is gonna snap back, and that's kind of the representation of what Paper Street is. Right? Paper Street is like that, going against that kind of mainstream type of thing. Um, so that's where the name came from. The name of my coffees. My first coffee I ever made my baby is called the Narrator, off the main character. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Tyler is based off of Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt's character, and Marla is based out of the love interest, the Marla Singer. Um, and yeah, and like that's kind of like the whole idea behind Paper Street, and I think it's kind of working, right? I think it's kind of like transitioning through, and like people are seeing that we're like this small business that's coming out into the space, and like Justin said, making that splash.
Mm-hmm.
um and I like it, right? I like it. Like, no, do I want to like watch the buildings crumble around me? No, I don't want to be the catalyst for that. I don't want to like be someone that does something negative to make that happen in the space. Um, but I want to be in the space, coffee space, to kind of push the envelope and like have those other coffee companies, whether they're in the CrossFit space or out of the CrossFit space, kind of like, oh, dude, what's that like tripping me on my heels? Like, what is it? Like, what was that? And they see it, and it's
Yep.
me. It's Paper Street. It's like, hey, I'm back there. Like, I need the people to chase. And then once I don't have anyone to chase, which I'll work my ass off to not have anyone to chase. Like I'll work my ass off to like be the next D&D, to be the next Starbucks, to be the next Blue Bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll work my ass off to be there. And once I don't have those people, like I'll still like find someone to chase. That's the type of person I am. So yeah, like pandemic kind of, as much as every pandemic kind of screwed up a lot of people, it kind of was like a blessing in disguise for me.
Yeah. So do you think, like you were talking about, like you want to be like the next D&D and stuff like that? So, as I see like the people in the coffee space, in like in the CrossFit coffee space, obviously like yours is like the first one that pops up. To in my view, that's just my personal opinion, because you are always on the Savant podcast, like your logo's on the Savant podcast, like it's one of the biggest podcasts around. And do you like, when you hit certain goals, do you kind of like still want to keep on chasing, or do you feel like, if you hit a certain goal, you kind of like, pull the throttle back a little bit?
Were you happy with 225 after you snatched? Were you like, I'm never
No,
gonna
of course not.
snatch
Of
more
course
than
not.
225?
No, no. It's like you always want to like you get to there and you're like, okay, let's keep on going a little bit more. So,
And that's why I gave you that analogy in the
yep.
beginning too. It's because like, hey, we're CrossFitters. It's like, like I said, even at 135, even after the 135 clean, right? Which is like, holy shit, I had 135, right? Like,
Hmm.
all right, 145 is next. All right, 155 is next. And the same thing goes. Like after you hit like your 315 clean and jerk, or your 315 like hang, whatever it is, like, ah, man, I can't wait to fail at like I can't wait to fail at 320,
Yep.
right? And then you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. And it's little increments, right? You never go after your snatch 225. You never go 315. Here it is.
Yeah.
Nah, you make the logical progression, and you aim for 315. You aim for that,
Hmm.
and then you work your ass off, and then it's whether it's a year, whether it's shit, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. When was the last time, like, you hear it so often, like, oh, I haven't PR'd my snatch in like a year. And I'm like, dude, did you stop snatching for a year? No, you didn't stop snatching for a year. It's you working towards it.
Yeah.
Things happen, things change, things change the direction of that goal.
Hmm.
And but the goal is still there. And yeah, I appreciate that question, because it's like one of those things where it's like, no one's ever asked me that question, but like I think, yeah, no, man, I want to keep contributing to the CrossFit space, but I also am looking to get out of the space, like not out of the space, but also venture into different avenues, because everybody drinks coffee, and if you don't drink coffee, I'm also selling tea. I'm working on selling tea, and if you don't drink coffee or tea, my bad. I got nothing for you. I got really cool shirts if you want that I'll put on the website. I'll have like a tumbler if you want with the logo on. Um but yeah, it's one of those things where um I'm not gonna settle. Like I'm not gonna settle. There's no reason for me to settle. There was no reason for me to start Paper Street and put a bunch of my money into Paper Street. I was just talking about it. Like we had maybe 50 sales from 2020 to 2022, like fiscal year 2020, right? All of 2020, all of 2021, and the beginning of 2022.
Hmm.
I took a random shot in the dark to sponsor a podcast. It worked. And in 1 month, the first month of the podcast, I had more than 50 sales.
Dak, that's
And that
awesome.
was and that was just me saying, hey, you know what? I have money that luckily I have money, and I decided to take it out of my personal pocket to give to sponsor a podcast with zeros. Like I was like, it's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. But it's having the ability to kind of, you know, um, taking that risk, loading, loading 235, right? The next
Hmm.
time that it's programmed to PR or snatch, like taking that risk, like shit, man, am I gonna hit it? Am I not gonna hit it? And that's what it was. And like some people are not willing to take that risk, but I think that kind of goes to show like the character that I have. It wasn't something that like cash was like coming out of my ass. It wasn't.
No.
Um, it was a risk where I was like, hey, I'm not in need of it, but I want to take, and I want to do something else. I want to grow, and I want to expand. Just like now, it's like I don't want to. A lot of people that I met in Miami that were very high up, that were very like popular, very well respected in the space, gave me huge props, and I could easily sit and stand there and be like, I'm the freaking king of the world. Like all these people know
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
Which I'll be honest with you, man. I was so high after I came back from Wadapalooza. I felt, and my fiance, God fucking give credit to her. She freaking knocked me down because I was being an asshole. I was having a conversation with one of my really, really good friends. And like he went to the bathroom or something, and she pulls me aside. She's like, "Hey, I get it. We had an amazing time at Wadapalooza. This isn't you. Be the Gabe that you normally are. Stop, stop being so showboaty. That's not you." And
Mm-hmm.
it literally, it was like 2 days later, and I was like, "Oh shit, she's right." And then it was all gone, and then
Yeah.
everything was gone. It was those, it was those, and even at the games, the very first time that we went to the games, which is this year, like she came up to me. She came to help after the first day because she had university. Um, she came and she pulled me aside after like an hour at the game. She's like, "Hey, Gabe, I know that you might not think this, but everyone that's stopping by the booth actually wants to talk to you. Let us take care of the coffee and talk to these people." Because I thought, I'm like, why do they want to talk to me? I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna give them coffee and like small talk. Here you go. All right, thank you.
Yep.
You
Yep.
don't
Yep.
care
Yep.
about me. And then she's like, "Hey, they really want to talk to you. Take a second." And I did. And then it helped like establish these connections. And it's one of those things where it's like, along with like having the Rodricks and the Travis, right, and the Bryans on your side, that like you get to shoot the shit and like you get to kind of expand and grow business. It's always good to
Mm-hmm.
have that person next to you. And like luckily, it's my fiance who's able to be like, "Hey, man, perfect." But just like you, like, did you have like a goal? It's like she's like, "Hey, it's not you. Keep going. Like, do your thing. Like,
Yeah.
let's keep it moving." And I think that's why we're where we are, right? Luckily, in front of you, in front of your fans, in front of the people that support you, and in front of the people that support me, and like the sky's the limit. But as much as the sky's the limit, right? Like it's just to kind of stay as grounded as possible. Stay as humble and give gratitude to the people that have been there from day one, whether it's individuals like Sevan or individuals who the first person who bought my coffee and decided to give me a shot, and then the people who you know still like message me like, "Hey man, I love what you're doing." Like all that is cool,
Mm-hmm.
and
Very
like
cool.
yeah, it keeps me going.
Yeah. So like it sounds like so I kind of use a motto called "Screw it, just do it." It's from like Richard Branson. So he has a book called "Screw it, just do it," and that's kind of like how that's how I started the podcast, and that's how like I try to start everything. And it sounds like you kind of almost did like the "Screw it, just do it" method. Just like go for it with especially with the coffee and like promoting Savan and all that stuff. And he's just like just go for it.
I recently someone asked me because we're working on opening up a physical location,
Oh,
and not
very
just one,
cool.
well, not just one physical location. Let me reel that back. We're working on opening up a bunch of physical locations. I'm gonna give you a number because it needs to be concrete, 4 physical locations.
Nice.
Um, and I'm just saying that just to say it. And if it happens, it happens. If I get one, I'm like, fuck yeah. If I get 4, I'm like, holy shit, fuck yeah, it actually happened. I'm just like one of those manifestation things, whatever it is. But yeah, like someone asked me, "Hey, do you have a business plan?" And I was like, I've never had, like, yes, I have a business plan. It's right here.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like I know what I'm gonna do. Like if someone came up to me and was like, "Dude, what was the business plan when you started Paper Street Coffee?" I was like, "Yes, just yes."
Just do
Like
it.
so, problem, find the solution, find the next problem, find the next solution. And I think that's the screw it, just do it kind of trickles down to that. Where's the problem, and are you willing to find the solution? Are you willing to work your ass off to find the solution? Or if a problem comes up, are you just gonna be like, "Ah, okay, it wasn't meant to be," and like throw the book out?
Mhm.
Mm, and I love that, screw it, just do it. But don't let my fiance hear that because she's not a big fan of screw it, just do it. She's a big fan of like plan out like years ahead. And I'm one of those type of people that just, hey man, I have enough confidence in myself and the people around me that I think I can um not screw it, just do it, because it sounds like one of like I think that
Yeah,
like
yeah,
brings
yeah,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
connotation of like, oh, this guy doesn't give a fuck. It's
Yeah,
like, no, I
yep.
actually do. Like the very much the opposite. I actually do care. But it's like what's we've all been in that situation. And again, we could take it back to freaking CrossFit, and that's why I'm in the space. It's like, hey man, if you're buried under a 1 rep max back squat, it's like shit. You're like more than halfway up, and you're like, hey, am I gonna bail here, or am I gonna kind of grunt it out for a few more seconds?
Mhm.
Um, and again, I think that's why it's like I can make all the analogies back to fitness and CrossFit. And I think that's why I love the space, and I think that's why I'm here. I can guarantee you, if I wasn't crushed under 405 a bunch of times, I would not be the person that I am today. I
Mhm.
can guarantee you.
Yeah.
But yeah, screw it, just do it. I wrote that down. I'm gonna get the book, and I'll definitely read that. I like that. I didn't know about
It's
that.
a real short read too. It's I think it's maybe 50 pages or something like that.
Really? Oh,
It's not that big.
that's awesome. Getting it. You said Richard Branson, right?
Yep. So there's a funny story about him how he met Phil Collins. And so I'm not gonna spill it, but it's hilarious. Like I thought it was pretty funny when they were kind of talking about it. So
I
it's
think
like
I,
it's in
I
like the
think I've
middle of the
heard
book or
one.
something like that.
Okay, I think I've heard something like that from another podcast, like a bigger podcast. They were talking about it too. Now that you mention it. But no, man, I'll definitely get the book. I'd love to kind of read it and kind of see. I guess there's other people out there that kind of have the same mentality, and it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So other than like you making coffee and all that stuff, what do you like to do other than like, to unwind? Do you like going out? Do you like what's something that like nobody knows that you like doing like outside of Paper Street?
I mean, it's very tough to unwind. When you have a business that you're trying to create, and then you have amazing friends that kind of push you.
Yep.
Um, I mean, when it comes to unwinding, I have the weekend. Like I just went to the Eagles game yesterday, right? So it's those things. But dude, I am. Let me grab it. You can kind of tell by the setup and the computer, the gaming chair. I'm an avid video game player.
Mm-hmm.
And by avid, I don't mean really avid. I'm like once a week when my fiance gives me like 45 minutes to play,
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if one of my friends is on, and I'll just basically talk with him while we play. And that's about it. But don't really have that time. Having a conversation with you. I'll have this conversation, 1,000 times before I pick up whatever it is. But yeah, man, I do my best. I luckily I have a whole garage gym set up. The only thing that I'm missing is like a lap pool, and I have everything I need. Oh, and a reverse hyper. Brian from the Barbell Spin, he has this amazing home gym too, and he has a reverse hyper, and we kind of just like we're like, dude, only rich people have reverse hypers. he must have he must have all the money. So the barbell spin is doing really really well
Mm-hmm.
for him to
Sounds
have
like
a
it.
reverse hyper.
Yeah, yeah. So awesome. So we're getting close to the end. So I got some rapid fire questions. They're really not rapid fire. You can kind of take as much time as you
True.
want. So
Uh,
um so what obviously it's like the beginning of the new year. So what are some of the goals that you want to hit? It could be personal, could be business wise, like whatever.
I'll tell you my personal goal, business wise. I have a nutrition coach. She's helping me out. Danielle Dunlap. Where is it? Here, what is it? Humble, hungry athlete. I'm humble. I think maybe possibly a little bit. I'm always hungry. I'm definitely not an athlete, but she kind of right at the new year she asked me. She was really dope, and she's helped me and my fiance out a lot. And she goes, "Hey Gabe, um, what are some goals?" And then she asked me, "What are some business goals as well?" And I'm typing out, and I'm thinking. So I'm thinking. I'm like 500,000 in sales, and I'm typing. I send it, and my brain just put $1 million in sales, or my body just put $1 million in sales. Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking 500. I'm like, dude, 500,000 in sales this year. My body was like, nah, man, nah, you don't even believe that. I'm like, let me take over, and it typed out 1 million in sales, and she's like, all right. It's not, and it's one of those things where she's such an awesome individual too. She was on the CrossFit Shoe Fly team that got popped
Hmm.
last year. She she wasn't like it was one of those things where when you tell people, sometimes people will be like, whoa, 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 whoa. She was like, all right, cool, let's get it.
Yep, exactly.
So
Yeah.
1 million in sales
Okay, cool.
by the
Anything
end of
else
this
like
year.
personal wise, like fitness wise or anything like that?
Uh, Fitness wise, I just got to get back into it. Personal wise, I just got engaged in December, so it's always
Congratulations, by the
fun.
way. Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, right now it's all business, and luckily I'm in a good space when it comes to personal fitness wise. I can kind of push it a little bit more, and I think I'm gonna have to start pushing it a little bit more to kind of especially if I'm going to be in the space and like support all these amazing athletes at the athlete camp last week. Saturday, I was shooting the shit, and one of my athletes, Kyra, she like walks by, and I was gonna sit out of this double under workout with like heavy ropes, and she
Mhm.
knew I like she saw that I was, and she goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like I'm like there with like a smoothie. I'm like, nothing. She's like, yeah, if I did it, you're gonna do it. I'm like, but you're an athlete. You're like an elite level athlete. I'm not that. She gave two fucks. She's like, you're gonna do it, and she just walked away. I'm like, all right, fuck it, I guess I'm gonna do it.
Very cool. Very cool. So, next question. So, do you have a favorite book?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I always go back to this, the biography of Steve Jobs, that
Okay.
one that came out. That was the only book that made me cry, and it was a biography.
Hmm.
It was just so impactful. Um,
That's the real thick one. That's like
Yeah.
500
Oh, yeah,
pages.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was reading it towards the end, and where like everything is going on, but like all the like how fucking dedicated he was to his vision, and how he was just like, nah, man, like I'm going.
Hmm.
Uh, you can stop me, you can try to slow me down, but I'm going. Um, and I remember like just reading it and just like starting to cry. Like I'm in my chair, I'm like, am I crying because I'm reading a autobiography? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that one, because it wasn't like I liked it. It was really really good. I love biographies. Don't give me fiction. I'll drop kick you. You give me fiction. Um, but it's like that. It was so powerful. The message was so powerful, and like the person was so powerful. It moved me. Like it emotionally moved me.
Mhm.
Um, so and it was the first book that did that. I mean, I try to get some books in as much as I can.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, I'm not one of the proponents that believes that listening to it is considered reading.
Mhm.
Uh, I'll tell you that. So like, if you ask me how many books have I read last year, it'd be zero. I've listened to them, but no, I read a book last year. But yeah, I'm not the proponent. I'm not one of those people. Yeah, I read like 10 books. It's like, did you? Nah, I kind of listened
No.
to them on.
Yeah.
Okay, then like, power to you, but nah. But yeah, the Steve Jobs biography.
Okay, cool. I've always wanted to read that. I just never had the chance to do it yet. So
Yeah,
I
dude.
definitely got it. I literally like bought like 5 different books. So I'm going to Jamaica next week,
Okay.
and I'm bringing 3 of them, and I'm like, should I bring more? Because I don't think we're really doing much. So I'm like,
What are your 3 books that you're gonna bring?
um, so I'm reading right now. It's called Instabrain. So
Okay,
it's like how to market. It's like they're all marketing books. It's like how to market to the
perfect.
Gen Z group. And then there's another one called Contagious. I don't I'll text you the authors and stuff. And then the other one's Purple Cow by I think David who no who's that guy? I forget who the guy is, but it's I like those are the 3 books that I recently got. Oh yeah, and I have the Kobe Bryant mentality one. I haven't read
Oh
that.
yeah,
That's too big to go on a trip. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a fucking amazing book. Yeah.
yeah.
Rick Rubin just came out with a book. The really huge producer.
Hmm.
That just reminded me. I need to pick that book up. There you go. I'm
Awesome.
a huge music guy.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. I love music.
Very cool. Very cool. So, next question. We're next question. We're
Go.
almost done. So,
Let's do it.
what is in your gym bag?
Uh,
Even though you work out from home, so you really don't have a gym bag.
yeah. This weekend I took a few things from me. Romeo 2's the best lifting shoe ever, point blank in history. Gymnastic grips from Victory Grips. Shout out Joanna. Um, thumb tape. Uh, RX. Smart Gear rope. Amazing people, lovely individuals, and I always, every time I go somewhere, I always bring a Paper Street Coffee shirt
Hmm.
to work out in, and a Sevon podcast shirt to change into.
Nice.
Always, without a doubt.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So next question, it's going to be a little deep. So I don't know. Have you heard the questions before? No. Okay. So, let's just say it's your last day on earth. You have all your friends around you. How do you want people to know you as?
Uh, hard worker. Hard worker. Um, I can guarantee you that most of the people that would be in that room, um, they'll probably say that. They're like, yeah, he worked his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, I think that or definitely someone be like, yeah, he was always screw it and do it type of guy.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So last question. So, where can people reach out to you if they want to, they're interested in any of your coffee products or, t-shirts or teas or, maybe figuring out where you're going to open the 4 physical spots?
definitely on our website. Send an email on the website, paperstreetcoffee.com. Um, the Instagram, I'm letting someone else run the Instagram to kind of give a little bit of a space between myself
Mhm.
and that entity.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think I'm not an expert in that, and she is. So like if you need something, DM me on the Instagram. They are really, really cool about getting back to me, like saying, "Hey, Gabe, you should, respond to this person."
Mhm.
So yeah, the Instagram, or just go to the website and fill out the contact us, or Gabe at paperstreetcoffee.com, and you guys have a direct line to me.
You didn't get that website yet, the Paper Street one?
There is a coffee shop out of New York that closed down before the pandemic that has the name. I've reached out to them. I offered them a decent amount of money. They don't want to sell it.
Wow.
But with that being said, websites have expiration dates, and that date is coming up very, very soon. And if they don't renew it, I already got like 100 people waiting to just like jump on it.
Awesome. Well, Gabe, thank you for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Thank
And,
you, man.
it was great talking to you and like kind of learning about you. And, I obviously, I know you're not a really big fan of podcasts, but I would love to have you back on later on and kind of, see where it's going from there. Maybe by the time we'll have another podcast, you'll have 2 physical locations. So,
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. That'd
yeah.
be awesome.
Well, thank you for, coming on, and I really do appreciate it.
Dude, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you even giving me the time of day.
All right, we'll talk later.
Thank you, man.
Dude, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, really. This was awesome. It was really, really cool. Yeah, I think you might be the last one that I do, to be honest with you.
Nice. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, there's been a few. There's one that like reached out to me and I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to." Yeah, there's been a few that reached out to me. It's I think between Clydesdale and like you, I love the fact you didn't ask me the same questions. I loved it. It was so cool. Between Clydesdale and you, I think everyone has gotten enough of me.
Okay. I'll put on the thumbnail last podcast.
Let's do it.
Just a little clickbait.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I thank you for like I can't thank you enough for coming on. It really means a lot. So
Yeah, man. I'm really excited. I'm really excited, and yeah, hopefully by next year, once we get 1 million in sales and once we have four coffee locations up, I'll definitely hop back on.
awesome, awesome. And obviously, so this podcast will come out in two weeks.
Okay.
So I'll obviously I'll promote the hell out of it, and I'll promote Paper Street and all that stuff, and everything I can possibly to like wherever I can get it and stuff. So
I appreciate it. Text me your address. I'll shoot you some stuff, some goodies so you can have. And then yeah, let me know when you have like even just like a thumbnail or like when you're gonna do anything. Just shoot it to the Instagram and I'll tell Jess, she's the girl who's running my Instagram, to kind of do her magic. And then
mhm.
I'll tell some Sevon and be like, hey man, this is coming out. You want to do me a favor and just kind of push it a little bit
Mhm.
to kind of help out a little bit.
Yeah. So with the thumbnail, do you want just your Paper Street logo, or do you want you and the Paper Street logo?
Nah, you could do the logo. I don't need to be.
Okay.
I don't. Don't do that. Don't do that to me, man. Please don't do that to me.
No, I won't. I won't. I promise. I promise. No, I'm good to my word. Don't worry.
Yeah, dude, I have no idea how there's people that like my profile is private on Instagram, and still people find me. I'm like, how the fuck do
Yeah.
people know who the hell I am? Like,
Hmm.
why are they asking to follow me? I don't want that. Like,
Yeah.
if you guys want to see me in person, you guys got to get your asses out to an event and to see me in person. Or like, I'll stop in. It's different. Like, I'll call into Sevon, or like if he shoots me a link, like I'll jump on. It's different. It's like, it's like your home turf, and it's like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just hop on, shoot the shit, and like he's one of those people that are like, all right, cool, bye, type of people.
Hmm.
Um, and it's never deep with him.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's very different. But like
Yeah.
this, I'm like, dude, you don't need to know who I am. Or I feel not like in a condescending way. It's like I
No,
feel
no,
like
no. I know what you mean.
you
Yeah,
don't need to know who
definitely.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, so I like do research not on like people that interview other people like Savon. Like I kind of like, I listen to his podcast like almost every day as much as I can, because, and I just kind of like I try to see like how he picks and chooses like what questions he kind of talks about. And then like I'll also go to like people that are going on like, news, people in the news that interview like the presidents and stuff like that, kind of get a gauge on like, okay, how do they go that way and how do I go that way? And I think me being a medical recruiter kind of helped out too, because I can kind of veer off in
Yeah.
different directions too. So that's a huge help, because I literally talk on the phone all day. And it's just like, and then I podcast too, and they're like, you don't get sick and tired of like talking to people every day? And I'm like, no, no.
That's why you're good at what you do. That's why this
Yeah.
conversation was very, very, very good. It felt very, very good. And you're a
Awesome.
very good listener. It's one of the things that I pick up on right away is like, there's a lot of people that do that they want to ask their question and are like, hey, I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question, and don't let the guest kind of talk it out.
Hmm.
And that's something that you did very well, very well, very well.
Appreciate it. It's always a work in progress. I've been doing this for 3 years, so this podcast almost came out like the same time with Coffee Pods and Wads and Clydesdale. And so last year I was part of the Clydesdale media team, and so this year I kind of want to like veer off on my own and kind of do like the YouTube, like try to do YouTube and all that stuff. So I kind of separated from them, and so I'm kind of like going on my own. But yeah, like we've been like all three of us have like been the same podcast like around the same time. It's pretty crazy. It's like almost like month after month. So you
Oh
have like,
wow.
I think it was Coffee Pods and Wads and Clydesdale, and then me right after.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, that's all and all from what it looks like. It like all good people. I met Peter in Miami too. He's an awesome dude. Supported
yeah,
the shit out of us as well. So
yeah.
yeah, I appreciate it. I really you don't. I might not seem it, but like just the fact of like giving me like a little bit of your time of day, it goes a lot. It means a lot to me.
Oh, vice versa, man. Like I appreciate like anybody that comes on my show, because like you don't have to. Like you could be like, nah. I've had people say like, no, I'm like not interested in it right now, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's fine. But like, at least like spending an hour and 15 minutes with me, yeah, like that's awesome. Even with all the camera difficulties and low blood sugar and all that stuff, yeah, it's great. So.
Dude, you gotta get that straightened out. Get that
Dude, I
straightened out.
I literally put a handful of like Sour Patch Kids and just crammed in my mouth, because I literally had like 2 minutes before like the podcast was coming on. I'm like, shit, and I'm like trying to like drink all this water, just try to get like guzzle it down and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god, this is it. All like it always happens like once a month, like always, like when I get down here, it just starts going woo, just a little bit, and
Oh, dude.
I'm like, God. And then like after like right now, it's probably like in the high 300s now. I guarantee it, because
Oh,
it's just
Jesus.
typical. Because like I get nervous. Actually 184. It's not too bad, but like it's just like sometimes I get nervous, because it's just like, okay, it's someone that like I don't know yet, and so it's just like,
It's just
uh,
gonna be
yeah,
awkward.
like how is this gonna go? And so that's then like the endorphins start kicking in, and like all the blood sugar just starts kicking in too. It's just like Jesus.
Dude, it's been awesome. It's been real.
Yeah.
Please text me your address. Let me get some stuff out to you. And yeah, man, just let me know when it's ready. I'll let my girl know, and like
Okay.
I said, I'll push it through Sevon. And yeah, my number. You could text, you could call, whatever you need. Where are you out of?
Well, where am I? I live in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
games won't be there anymore. Haha.
No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay.
uh, uh, so uh, so yeah, maybe if I swing by to do a little bit of content with Alexis, reach out to you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I live like 40 minutes away from Training Think Tank.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wanted to get Ariel on, right?
Yeah. I could reach out to her too.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put in I'll be like, hey, Jared did this podcast. It's really cool. Ariel should be on it. I'll do that. And yeah, whoever else, like if you know someone, then you know that I work with them, and whatever it is, if you want just an introduction, I'll be more than glad to do it.
Dude, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Anything, anytime, and I'll make sure I'll nudge Savon, like, hey man, get this guy some recognition too,
Awesome.
especially if he's helping myself out, and now Travis is a good dude. You're gonna like that conversation too.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't. I seriously can't wait. So, well, I'll let you go because I have to get ready to pack my kids' lunches and all that stuff. And so, but
No
yeah,
problem.
thank you for coming on. I'll text you my my address and everything like that, and then we'll go from there. And obviously, like I would like to stay in touch too. So
Yeah.
just
Hell yeah.
see how everything's going and all that jazz.
I appreciate it, man. Thank
All right,
you so much from the bottom of my heart.
all right. I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Take care, brother.
All
Bye.
right.